Yo, what's good everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be breaking down the Nhl Dfs slate for Tuesday, December 13th. We got ourselves a massive 12-game slate here tonight where I'm going to go through a couple of my favorite line stacks, some of my favorite individual plays, and some of my favorite value plays. And as always, we'll wrap up the video talking a little prize picks. With that being said, let's dive into my spreadsheet here. And we're going to kick things off here like we always do in the top left-hand corner with those highest implied game totals, where you can see 6 of these games are coming in with an implied total of 6.5 goals. We got 5 games coming in at 6 goals even, and then just 1 game there between the Flyers and Avalanche coming in at 5.5. And then take a look down here at the Vegas odds, where you can see each team who's favored to win tonight. With that being said, let's dive into a couple of line stacks that I like here for tonight, starting with that first line for the Buffalo Sabres. Now, this is not the typical Sabres first line that we're accustomed to seeing. We are seeing Casey Mittelstadt here on the left wing with Jeff Skinner out, currently serving his suspension. But Tage Thompson, Alex Tuch, that's the primary targets here. These guys have been awesome together, and we all know what Tage Thompson has done here as of late, but I'm willing to justify Mittelstadt there at $3,600, especially considering he is playing up on the #1 power play with both of these guys as well. And I just like the matchup at home for the Buffalo Sabres in general here tonight against the Los Angeles Kings, who've allowed 3.61 goals per game this season with a penalty kill that has struggled all year long, just hitting at a 71.6% rate. And then another line stack I like here tonight is that first line for the San Jose Sharks. We got Hertl centering Meyer and LeBanc. Now, it's a 12-game slate. Ownership is going to be pretty evenly spread out across the board, but I do believe that this first line here for the Sharks is going to go pretty low owned, and I like the multiple point upside that they have, especially in a matchup like this against the Arizona Coyotes, another team that has struggled defensively all year long. They've allowed 3.62 goals per game this season with a penalty kill that's hit at just a 76% rate, and no other team in the NHL is averaging more minor penalties per game than the Arizona Coyotes. So we should see the Sharks get on the power play a handful of times here tonight, where we'll see Hertl and Meyer play up on the #1 power play. LeBanc plays down on the second, but these three do log solid minutes together, 5-on-5. Now, folks, before we dive into some of my favorite individual plays here, if you could like this video and subscribe to the channel, I would greatly appreciate that. For those of you who are on Discord, don't forget, I got a channel there as well. If you want to join that, there's a link to do so in the description below. Got a good group of people in there talking some hockey. And for those of you who are on Twitter, if you want to give me a follow here, I am occasionally posting some NHL bets there too. Alright, now diving into some of these individual plays here, we're going to kick it off with the forwards. And I've mentioned this a handful of times already this year. We probably don't need to advocate for McDavid and Draisaitl on a nightly basis. We know the upside they have. We know they can put up points against anybody, but I wanted to highlight Draisaitl here because he seemed to have the number of the Nashville Predators, especially over his last 9 games, where he's racked up 18 goals and 7 assists. He's had 2 hat-tricks in those 9 games and 2+ goals in 7 of those 9 games. Just absolutely ridiculous numbers, and he happens to face the Nashville Predators here tonight. I then got Patrick Laine there of the Columbus Blue Jackets, who's been awesome ever since he returned from injury 6 games ago. In those 6 games, he's racked up 6 goals, 3 assists, 9 points, with 26 shots on net. We love to see him firing the puck like that. He's got one of the best shots in the NHL. Now, he is technically playing down on the second line right now, but still playing up on that #1 power play and logging around 18-19 minutes per night. And I like this matchup here against the Florida Panthers, a team that really has struggled defensively this year, allowing 3.34 goals per game with a penalty kill that's hit at just a 78% rate. They just don't look like they have a bunch of leadership on that team right now. Got routed for 5 goals the other night against the Kraken. Their head coach came out and said that their bench was quiet, and it just sounds like they need some sort of spark on their team. So I don't mind Columbus here as kind of a contrarian play. And then a not so contrarian play here tonight is William Nylander of the Toronto Maple Leafs. And again, I don't think ownership is going to be too heavy on any one of these guys, being that it is a 12-game slate. I'm not concerned about it, but you can bet that the Toronto Maple Leafs will probably be a popular target in this matchup here against the Anaheim Ducks. And I talked about this just yesterday actually, but the Anaheim Ducks have allowed 4.17 goals per game this season, the most most in the NHL, and Nylander has been awesome on that first line with Austin Matthews. He's got 7 goals, 6 assists, 13 points in his past 10, averaging around 4 shots on net per game, and close to 16.5 DraftKings points per game. It's pretty damn good, even at this price here, $6,600, and he's definitely someone that has 30-plus DraftKings point upside. I don't even mind targeting that number 1 power play for the Toronto Maple Leafs, considering how bad the Ducks have been on the penalty kill this year, just hitting at a 66% rate. Another guy who's been finding the score sheet pretty frequently as of late is Anze Kopitar of the Los Angeles Kings. 7 goals, 6 assists, 13 points in his past 10, averaging around 15 DraftKings points per game, but another guy who's got 25, 30-plus DraftKings point upside, especially in a matchup like this against the Buffalo Sabres, who've allowed 3.68 goals per game this year, the 5th most in the NHL, with a penalty kill that's hit at just a 70% rate. Kopitar's going to center that first line here tonight, play up on that number 1 power play, and should log around 19-20 minutes. I then got Taylor Hall of the Boston Bruins, who's playing some pretty good hockey himself right now. 6 goals, 4 assists, 10 points in his past 10, averaging around 4 shots on net per game. Really like the way that he's shooting the puck. In fact, he's actually had 5-plus shots on net in 3 straight games, getting you that 3-point DraftKings bonus, and he's averaging around 15 DraftKings points per game over his past 10 too. Not bad at all for a guy priced here at $5,400. We're going to see him play on that second line tonight and play on that number 2 power play, and I don't mind the matchup here against the New York Islanders. The Islanders can at times be very good defensively, but other times they just look like they're out of place, don't look like the same team, and kind of riding a roller coaster this year. And they have not been very good defensively here over their past 5, allowing 3.60 goals per game, with a penalty kill that's hit at just a 73% rate. And look, if you're going to keep giving me Brandon Hagel here in the 4K range, I'm going to continue to talk about him. I know he's had some highs, he's had some lows, but this is purely an opportunity play. He's still up on that first line with Kucherov and point, and still playing on that number 1 power play, and certainly don't mind the matchup here tonight against the Seattle Kraken, who have not been very good on the penalty kill here as of late, just hitting at a 73.3% rate in their past 4 games. Now, moving over here to the defensemen, and there are some quality top-tier defensemen on this slate, and I got 2 that I want to highlight here, but there's also a lot more value, in my opinion, at the defenseman position tonight compared to the forward position, so I'll likely be spending down for defensemen for the most part, but John Carlson of the Washington Capitals is definitely worth noting, playing some very good hockey right now and really racking up DraftKings points in a number of different ways. He's got 3 goals, 4 assists, 7 points in his past 10, averaging around 3.5, 4 shots on net per game, and close to 2.5, 3 block shots per game, which is all translated to 16 DraftKings points per game, and I really do like the matchup here tonight for the Capitals against the Chicago Blackhawks. I then got Aaron Ekblad there of the Florida Panthers, and honestly, I just felt obligated to highlight at least one Florida player here tonight, considering how good the matchup is at home against the Columbus Blue Jackets. Whether or not they do have leadership issues, a coaching issue right now, and just have their internal struggles, this Florida team, it is really hard to ignore the matchup against Columbus, who've allowed 4.07 goals per game this season, the 2nd most in the NHL. Now, Ekblad is a guy who logs big minutes for this Florida team, plays around 25, 26 minutes per night on that number 1 power play, plays on the penalty kill, and can really rack up DraftKings points in a number of different ways himself. He's got 8 points here in his past 10, averaging around 2.5 shots on net per game, and close to 2 block shots per game. Now, getting into some of these value plays here, first guy I got there is Matt Benning of the San Jose Sharks, who's actually seen his price creep up here as of late, but rightfully so. He's playing some really good hockey right now. He's got 9 assists here in his past 10 games, where he's averaging 3 block shots per game. Don't forget, you get 3 block shots in a game, you get that 3-point DraftKings bonus. Benning is certainly capable of doing that, and he's averaging 11.3 DraftKings points per game over his past 10, just absolutely crushing value at his current price. We're going to see him play about 20 minutes here tonight, get time on that number 2 power play, and play on the penalty kill as well. And then I got Sean Walker there of the Los Angeles Kings, but keep in mind, I like this play here assuming that Drew Doughty is out once again. We saw him miss last game against the Columbus Blue Jackets, which led to Walker playing more minutes in general and getting time on that number 1 power play, which is primarily where I'm targeting him, because again, this Buffalo Sabres penalty kill has struggled all year long, just hitting at a 70.5% rate. And then I got a couple of goaltenders here for you tonight, starting with Linus Ullmark of the Boston Bruins, who continues to be awesome this year. He's now 16-1-0 with a goals allowed average of 1.77 and a save percentage of .941 with 14.5 goals save above expected, the third best in the NHL. And then I got Ville Husso there of the Detroit Red Wings, who's got a winning record of 11-4-4 on the season, a goals allowed average of 2.56 and a save percentage of .916. Some solid numbers for sure, but he has had some highs and lows, so I like him primarily on the tournament or GPP side of things, but I love the upside that he brings. If you go look at his game log, he's definitely got some bad games there, but he's also had some games where he scored 30-plus DraftKings points. And as always, going to wrap up the spreadsheet here with 3 low-priced options or sub-4K forward plays. First guy I got there is Alex Iafallo, and honestly, I just wanted to highlight this play here because I kind of like that third line for the Los Angeles Kings as a cheaper contrarian stack in a good matchup against the Buffalo Sabres. Now, Iafallo himself plays on that number 2 power play too, but Kempe and Velarde, who he plays with on that third line, play up on the number 1 power play. So again, you're getting a cheap line stack that plays solid minutes and gets time on that number 1 power play or number 2 power play in a good matchup against Buffalo. Next, I got Teuvo Teravainen there of the Carolina Hurricanes, currently playing on that second line with Svechnikov and playing up on the number 1 power play. Look, he's had a quiet year so far this year, just 8 assists in 17 games, but he is someone that's got 15, 20 plus DraftKings point upside, so I don't mind him at his price there at $3,600. And then Jack Roslovic there of the Columbus Blue Jackets, playing on that second line, but playing up on the number 1 power play, playing well here as of late with 2 goals, 6 assists, 8 points in his past 6 games, and he makes for a cheap play to mini stack with Patrick Laine, being that they both play on that second line and number 1 power play. And then to wrap up this video here, want to talk a little prize picks with you guys. These big slates, the 10 to 12 game slates, are my favorite because there's so many picks to choose from, and prize picks can mess up a few of these lines. I just went through a handful of them here. They don't have the full set of picks out as I record this morning, but I can imagine they're going to be out here sooner than later. Once those are out, I'm going to go through them individually, do my research, and like I always do, I'll let you know my final picks in a comment below on this video, and I'll be sure to pin that comment as well. And don't forget, I am posting those in my Discord too. If you want to join that channel, there's a link in the description below to do so. Now, for those of you who have not signed up for prize picks yet but want to get in on this action, I got a promo code that you should definitely take advantage of. When you're signing up, use my promo code GRIFF. GRIFF, and Prize Picks will give you all the way up to a $100 match deposit. Now again, you do not have to put $100 in. You want to put in 50, they'll match 50. You want to put in 20, they'll match 20. They will match anything up to $100. Again, as long as you're using my promo code GRIFF, GRIFF, upon signing up. Alright everyone, that is going to wrap up this video here for today. As always, thank y'all for taking the time out of your day to watch the content here on this channel. If you could like this video and subscribe to the channel, I would greatly appreciate that. Let's have ourselves a great day here, folks. Let's win some money on this 12-game slate. In the meantime, I'm out of here.